Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to episode number 15. 1-5. Mellow on the Nuggets.
I don't know.
I don't know either. As per usual, I'm joined once again by Joey Bereski. Joey, how did Xavier Hutchinson and Cade Stover do this past weekend?
All right, so that's how it's going to be today. Okay. Xavier Hutchinson didn't do too hot. I mean, I'm not surprised.
Neither of them did too hot.
Will you let me finish, or are you going to be like the people in the political interviews when the political people go off on tangents that have nothing to do with? Anyways, no politics.
I'm surprised you haven't pulled out I'm surprised you said you weren't going to fact check me yet.
That'd be funny. Anyways, Xavier Hutchinson didn't do too hot. I mean, and I'd say Cade Stover did okay. Go ahead.
How many receptions did they have?
Dude, I don't know. I really don't know.
Do you want to know?
No, not really.
They had 0. Chad.
Yeah.
What? Chad, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I've got no funny questions for you. I was gonna keep ragging on Joey, but I won't beat the dead horse any more than I already have.
Dead horse. Damn.
What'd you say?
Dead horse. Damn.
Well, no. Dead horse is a joke.
I know.
Like the joke is. We're off to a great start. We're 2 minutes in, and I'm already explaining my jokes. So,
That was 2 minutes? What the?
Yeah, we're 2 minutes in. We kill time around here.
That was quick. Wow.
We kill time. All right. You think that's good for tonight?
Yeah.
Almost can fit in a short.
Yeah. All right. Well, no, it's like double. 2 minutes is a lot, though.
Double it and pass it on.
Joey, what do you think of the fantasy trades I've made this past week?
What have you done?
I did Jonathan Taylor and Jackson Smith and Jigba for Drake London and Josh Downs.
I think you lose that unless you're set at running back.
Yeah, I Breece Hall.
Breece Hall and
James Conner.
Okay. I mean, listen, I'll give it to you. I think I would personally prefer the Jonathan Taylor, Jackson Smith, and Jigba end of it, especially if DK Metcalf does end up getting traded, which is a big rumor, obviously, right now.
What? That can't be a rumor. You're making that up.
I haven't heard that one.
You're making that up. You're making that up.
I have nothing going on in my life. I know ball right now. I'm reading up on this stuff.
We're going to fact check.
Little trips there. Well, it's
one day ago from BMV Sports. You want to hold that hand up to your ear one more time, buddy? No, BMV Sports, and this was written as a fan.
Why are you acting like I don't have credible sources?
You have no sources.
My source is the next Woj. My source is the next Woj. Shout out Justin Corgan.
The trade talk came from a Seahawks talk show host.
All right, Seahawks talk show host, fan of the Seahawks, might know somebody in the Seahawks. I don't know. I think DK Metcalf's going to get traded.
No, you don't. Chad, do you think DK Metcalf's going to get traded?
No. No.
We're off to a rip-roaring start here today on the Ball Talk Boyos podcast, as always. Gonna get a lot more into football talk in a little bit, but we're getting into Joey's bread and butter here. His first love, as I think he texted me today about it. But NBA tip-off is only 5 days away from getting started. So we'll have a lot more than just basketball or football to be talking about. Chad, how much do you in like take in basketball wise? Like, how heavily do you follow it?
I would say the occasional like marquee matchup I'll watch. I'll watch a fair amount of Bucks. I think it ramps up as the season goes. I think, especially once the NFL finishes up, I'll start paying attention heavy to NBA.
Sure. What are your feelings about Lonzo Ball? This will change my opinion of you. Just so we're clear.
I mean, good for him for coming back. I mean, he's been gone for like 2-3 years now, so I guess you got to give props to that. I don't have a bold take. I don't know he's gonna do anything crazy in the league, but
Joey,
I just gotta say this one thing about Lonzo Ball and the Ball family in general. If you're not a fan of Lonzo Ball and not a fan of the Ball family, I don't know. I think less of you because
you don't.
Go ahead.
No, continue. I'll add after.
I think that the Lonzo Ball and the Ball family have been great for basketball. I mean, we all remember when they were in high school still. Lonzo's early days at UCLA. I mean, if you didn't watch Ball in the Family back in the day, that was great. That was fantastic. Like the big Baller brand, like man, triple B's. I was just listening actually today on my drive home from work to one of Lonzo Ball's songs, which is actually pretty good. I will die on that hill that Super Saiyan by Lonzo Ball is actually a good song, unironically. I mean, good for the sport, and I'm glad he's back.
Yeah. Today on our run, me, Quinn, Connor, and Gabe a little bit too, we're talking a lot about... Oh, and Charles. Should include Charles. We're talking a lot, mainly about Lonzo Ball, and talked about Lonzo Ball, talked about the Lakers a little bit. But we'll get more into we'll get into the nitty gritty of our season predictions as things go. So I've already stated like a couple of my predictions previously on the podcast, so mine won't be anything new. But Chad, how do you feel about year 2 of Dame with the Bucks and a full season of Doc?
I want to believe in them, but it's hard for me to totally get behind them.
Sure.
I think it feels like they're over the hill a little bit.
Like that they're cooked?
Yeah, it's hard for me to. I don't know. They can't stay healthy. That's part of the problem. Is Giannis is starting to get hurt some. Middleton, same thing. Dame's old. Lopez is old. So even like we get to the playoffs, ever since the Bucks won the finals, they haven't even played a full series with Middleton and Giannis since then.
Yeah. Joey, any thoughts about the Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who was in Milwaukee, that Game 6, I believe it was, when they won the championship, and saw like the chaos that happened firsthand, saw Giannis absolutely take over against the Suns. Like, it was special then. I was like, the Bucks are going to be great for a long time to come. But it just feels... The Bucks just feels a little lifeless right now. I don't know how to describe it besides that. I think that they're all getting up there in age. It feels like Giannis... I mean, you saw his comments about how he thinks he's going to get traded. He wants to trade. He wants out of Milwaukee. He wants to go to Dallas or something like that.
I didn't interpret it as... Yeah, Chad, you go ahead. You and I
don't think he wants to leave. I think he's pretty loyal to the Bucks.
No.
I will say, and I will actually defend this one on like the DK Metcalf crap I was spewing earlier, that Giannis, I have been seeing reports from a bunch of sources about how he does, like, they think he's a little unsettled there. They think he kind of wants out. And a lot of people think he wants to go to Dallas, too.
I think you're just making...
No, I'm... This one, I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill after this.
I think you are just, like, you're seeing, like, random, like, fan NBA Central... You're seeing a bunch of NBA Centel tweets.
No. I get my news from the most reliable source in news, as Derek would say. TikTok. That was playing. No, I've read... I think I read...
Where did you're making this up?
No, I read something from I think it was on Twitter from an actual NBA reporter. I forget who it was. Like legitimate. Like I checked into it. Like I've seen this guy before. I forget who it was, but like checked into it. Like actual account. Like legitimate person and source. I'm not saying that Giannis is actually gonna ask for a trade out or want to get traded out, but from what I'm hearing is if they're not going to compete well this year, he's gonna maybe try to get out of Milwaukee.
I have a hard time believing they're not going to compete.
I'd be a little concerned. I don't think they're a top. They're definitely not in the top tier of the East. That's without a doubt. The top two teams are.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
you gotta be kidding me.
Celtics and Knicks are a step above them. Celtics and Knicks are a step above them.
No, not the Knicks. Not the
Celtics. Oh no, yeah, Celtics. I thought you said the 76ers. Yeah, the Celtics and the Knicks are above them. But I don't think any other team's better than them, and I don't think either of those teams are noticeably better than them.
I do.
The Knicks don't deserve a benefit of the doubt if they're way better.
I legitimately believe that. I think the Knicks, just the way they're composed, they're better team composition. I think they're better coaching, which that's not hard. I just think that there's so many good pieces there that stack up well against other contenders and other good teams that I think the Knicks will be just fine. I'd be concerned if I was the Bucks, legitimately, because you have Giannis, who's really good, but hasn't been able to stay healthy as much recently. You have Chris Middleton, who seems to be injured every year going into the playoffs at this point. And then you have Damian Lillard, who's getting up there in age. I think that Jalen Brunson is better than Damian Lillard at this point in time, and I don't think that's anything ridiculous whatsoever. I think that Giannis is
second option.
But I think that Giannis against either OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges, they're not going to lock him up. Don't get me wrong. He's better than those guys. But I think that those guys can do a good job of limiting his impact to some degree. He's not going to go for 40. He's not going to go for 40.
I think I might be 38 tonight. I think this might just be you and Chad because I can't do this. If we're 12 minutes in and we're doing this talk about the Bucks, I don't know if I can do basketball talk today. I might not have it in me. I'm going to be totally honest. Giannis is a top 3 NBA player on the planet.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
He is underrated. He's underrated at this point.
He just... oh, my gosh.
I think the best player in that series is Giannis. And then after that, it's a couple Knicks. Maybe then Dame, couple Knicks.
Couple Knicks?
It's maybe one Knick.
Brunson, Cat.
Dame's better than Cat.
No, Cat is not better. Dude, Dame was dropping 30 before he got hurt in the Pacers series. Karl Anthony Towns, meantime, what was he doing last year in the playoffs?
Dame averaged 24 and 7 last year.
Yeah, no, Dame's a great player, and I will admit that I think Dame and Karl Anthony Towns, that's at least a debate. But I think projecting going into this year, because at the end of the day, it's projection at this point.
I can't do it today. If we're having this discussion about the Bucks, I do not want to hear what you have to say about other things.
Joey's just feeding into the big market.
Yeah, Joey's just a big market lover.
I hate the Knicks.
Yeah, come on.
Outside of Jalen Brunson, though. Jalen Brunson, shout out, Stevenson High School. Saw him play in high school. But anyways, we can move on to less testy topics then.
The Cavs suck.
Whoa. No.
I'm joking.
No.
Chad, do you think? What are your thoughts on the Giannis trade? What he said.
I think he wants to win a lot, but he seems very loyal, and I don't think he needs to give up by any point. I think there could be, if you were a Bucks player looking at it, you might just think we didn't have Giannis last year, run it back and see what we can do. If we are able to have Middleton, Dame, and Giannis, we like our chances.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I took his as more just saying I understand the nature of this business, and if we're not successful, and knowing that he is in a small market, and knowing I'm Giannis Antetokounmpo, I'm one of the 5 best players in the NBA. If we're not good, they will get the most value from me, and then I will get traded. Like, I think it was just like understanding the reality of his situation and the situation that they're in. I don't think he wants to get traded. I don't think he will get traded. I think no, he's not getting traded. I think Giannis should be a lifelong Buck. If Giannis plays a single game in a jersey not the Milwaukee Bucks or the Greek national team, I think it is a travesty. Because that's the guy that like he stuck to it. He stayed in the place that developed him. He stayed through the head coaching turbulence and everything. But I don't know. Should we just jump right over into like our NBA season long predictions?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Chad, where do you want to start with this? Should we do surprise team, surprise player, and then get to like the meat of the awards?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I'm adding rookie of the year. But Joey, did you have anything? I saw you raise your hand.
No, I gave a thumbs up for the rookie of the year.
Oh, okay. I didn't see anything. But Chad, what do you think is the surprise team out of this year?
I'm gonna go with Charlotte.
The Charlotte Hornets.
I think there'll be someone that's in the play-in, going for the playoffs.
And you think that's better than what you think they're expected to do?
I think so. I don't know. There's been a couple years now where LaMelo's been hurt and they haven't done much, so I think they've kind of faded into the background and no one really is thinking about them. But
yeah,
him and Brandon Miller, I think they'll be like the Magic or something this past year.
Yeah. Brandon Miller kind of broke the mold, I think, of bad rookie guards. Like, I don't think he was bad last year.
No.
He's a forward.
Is he a forward?
Yeah.
He seems like a shooting guard to me.
He's a wing. He's a wing.
Yeah, he's a forward.
Yeah, whatever.
I misspoke. Never mind. He didn't break the mold. He was just good. But yeah, I think he was legit last year. And like you said, LaMelo has been very, very hurt over the course of the last couple years. 17, 4 and 2 on 44% shooting, 37 from 3. That's pretty solid. Joey, your surprise team.
I think my surprise team is going to be the Sacramento Kings. I think that with some of the moves they made in this offseason, I think the addition of DeMar DeRozan, for example, is going to be huge for them. I think that the Kings have a really good group of guys. As y'all may know, I'm very high on Domantas Sabonis. I think Domantas Sabonis is a top 10 player in the league, but you guys don't have to. We don't have to get into that conversation right now. I know I've gotten some slack to pay for that, but I think that the Kings have a really good team this year. They have some playoff experience now, and I think that the Kings could be a sneaky team to at least get to a Western Conference Finals. I don't know if they're better than the Thunder and the Mavericks, but I think that if the Kings end up in the Western Conference Finals because they upset one of those two teams in the Western Conference semis, I wouldn't be surprised.
Did you not hear what I said?
Something about Domantas Sabonis being white.
Yeah, I said, is that why you like him?
No, I think it's because advanced stats-wise, he's really good.
We don't do advanced stats. This is basketball. I watch with my eyes. My surprise team is going to be the San Antonio Spurs. I think they make the playoffs this year, and I don't think people think that. I think Chris Paul will do immense things for that team, and I think not this year, but next year will be we're getting to the end of Greg. I think we're getting to the end of him in the league. But yeah, the San Antonio Spurs are my pick. I think they make the playoffs this year. And Wemby, yeah, I think Wemby, like by the end of the year, is like a top 10 player in the NBA because he's a freak. Joey, your surprise player out of this year.
Actually, I like the San Antonio Spurs stuff that you were talking about because I was going to say my surprise player is going to be Chris Paul. And the way I say Chris Paul is going to be a surprise player is because I think people see him as someone not because he's a no-name or anything like that, but because he played a smaller role the past few years, especially like on the Warriors. He wasn't like the starting point guard. He wasn't like having a huge role. But I think this year with a guy like Wemby to pass the ball to, that's going to be absurd. Chris Paul is one of the greatest passers of all time, and I think that Chris Paul, even though he's super old now, I think he could be a sneaky potential fringe. Like if Chris Paul snuck into the All-Star game, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay. Chris Paul, the guy from the State Farm commercials.
That's Cliff Paul.
I thought you were about to say borderline MVP, and I think I would have left. I think I would have stopped the show. I think that would have been it.
I just think that Chris Paul the past few years especially has gotten a lot of hate because he can't win the playoffs and because he's getting up there and his production's been declining.
He's addicted to it, though, Joey. He's addicted.
He was my favorite player growing up, man. Come on. It's tough to see this hate.
He was addicted to it. Chad, what do you think the appropriate reaction should have been if Joey had said Chris Paul's a borderline MVP?
We leave the call.
And never talk to him again. That's just it.
But I wasn't even going to say anything close to that.
I'm just kidding.
Wemby could be, though.
Yeah. What a hot take.
It's not a hot take.
Chad, who's your surprise player this year?
I'm gonna call it and say Cade Cunningham goes to the All-Star game.
Cade Cunningham, not a bad pick. I was hoping you'd give me something to make fun of, just because I've been ragging on Joey a little bit.
That's way less surprising than Chris Paul going to the All-Star game in the year of 2024, 2025 by the time it's the All-Star game.
Yeah, but that's just gonna be wrong. He's just not going to make it.
We'll see. We'll see.
Chris Paul's about to give him like solid 10 and 10. Chris
Paul's going 16 and 10.
Chris Paul's about to put up like a MVP Steve Nash season.
Yeah, 16 and 10 or something like that.
No, it's not even. It was like 13 and 12.
Nah, that's just good basketball right there. That's just good old-fashioned clean basketball.
Yeah, I know. I had someone in my head for a surprise player, and now I can't remember. Oh. No, I'll save that. Take for later. I'm gonna go Paulo Banchero, and I think he finishes top 5 in MVP.
Okay.
All right.
See, I saved it. I'm not gonna say something silly like he's just. You know what? He's gonna play a basketball game this year, guys.
I'm not gonna lie. I hate how I got ragged on for saying Chris Paul could be an All-Star this year when that was probably the most shocking of the 3 picks that we had. I think that's like the least likely.
I think if Chad probably could have saved himself by saying like, "Oh, I think the Pistons make the playoffs with Cade Cunningham." I think me saying Paolo being top 5 in MVP is fair. It like makes it more of a surprise.
Yeah, that's bold enough.
That is bold. That is bold enough. Yeah.
Like they're gonna have to be a top 3 seed in the East probably.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna have to average like 30. Like I think he takes a legit jump this year. You know what? We're gonna jump down to disappointing player. You want to know who I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
I think he gets a lot of hype. Like I think he's very good. I think he's going to be like very good in the league for a very long time. But I think we're talking about him like he's like the best player in the NBA, or like he's in that conversation, or like he's the next coming of Michael Jordan. And I feel like I remember watching some of those postseason games and getting like incredibly frustrated. Like basketball's a sport. Like part of the reason I don't watch basketball as much anymore is because I just get incredibly frustrated watching some of like the stupid things that players do. Like I get more frustrated watching that than I do watching like football. Like football, it's more just like rooting. Like basketball, I'm like, what are you thinking? From that kind of standpoint. But Chad, your disappointing player this year.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Big Bodega?
He's not the addition New York is needed to win the championship. He's going to disappoint.
With with Cat and the Knicks, Joey, I'll let you give your thought on that too in a sec. But my thought on Cat and the Knicks, I think Cat winds up playing like the third option offensively role for them. I think Mikal Bridges is like their number 2 option offensively.
I don't know about all that, but I think
I'm really high on the Knicks.
I'm really high on the Knicks too. I just don't foresee a world in which Mikal Bridges is going to be the number 2 over Karl-Anthony Towns. I think. Go ahead.
We're like a year removed from Mikal Bridges averaging like 25.
Yeah, he averaged 25 on the.
I think he averaged 27 while he was with the Nets. That once he got traded.
Yeah, and the Nets were not very good.
Last year he wasn't as good.
I don't think on a winning team like the Knicks, that's like a true contender, he's going to be the second option there. I think the perfect role for Mikal Bridges is the third option on a contender.
You want to hear some of Mikal Bridges' nicknames? Got a lot of them.
Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead.
We got the Warden.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Noodles. Inspector Go-Go Gadget.
What?
String Bean. Brittle. Praying Mantis.
Brittle.
And Brooklyn Bridges.
Oh, I said Brooklyn Bridges. Sweet.
The Warden's pretty solid.
I don't get the Brittle one because hasn't he played like every single game since high school? Isn't that like a stat or something?
Yeah, he's even played over 82 games once.
Oh yeah, no, like he plays every game.
Thibodeau's gonna love
joke.
That.
Oh yeah, he's gonna eat it. Don't worry, Joe. Your Guardians aren't dead yet. They're going extras. What are we on? Joey, your disappointing player. Now that we've had 2 Timberwolves. Well, a Timberwolf and 1 former Timberwolf. Now listen.
I'm gonna stray away from the
disappointing player here, Joey. Here, can I guess who you're gonna say?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Scottie Pippen.
What? My disappointing player is gonna be Joel Embiid.
I like that.
I think it's death, taxes, and Joel Embiid missing the Eastern Conference Finals yet again. I think Joel Embiid is a solid regular season player. I don't think he can play in the postseason. I don't think he's gonna be healthy in the postseason because by the time he gets to that point when he's played 40 plus games, which he didn't even play last year, he's gonna get injured or something. I think Joel Embiid is not. I think Joel Embiid's the epitome of a guy who puts up good numbers but doesn't really truly impact a team enough as number 1 to contend. And I think that Paul George being injured now hurts. I think Tyrese Maxey's solid, but I just don't see it. I just don't see Joel Embiid being able to live up to that him and Jokic hype. I think a better debate than Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic is Joel Embiid and Domantas Sabonis. But people aren't ready for that yet.
All right, you had me until.
So you brought Sabonis back up.
Sabonis take.
Is Sabonis paying you money?
Hey, if y'all remember, I remember last year, clear as day. We were in the indoor track.
You missed the playoffs?
After a workout. I was saying in the indoor track last year, we were having a conversation, a bunch of us on the team, and I was dying on the hill that I think Domantas Sabonis is better at impacting winning, and I would rather have Domantas Sabonis than Joel Embiid.
What stat are you using to mention?
Sabonis doesn't do anything in the playoffs either.
Domantas Sabonis plays for the Sacramento Kings. Just making the playoffs is a godsend.
You want to know what my favorite thing is to do? Move the goalpost for people. So let's keep doing that. What stat are you using to say that? Or are you just this gritty guy, he's just gonna get down there, chase after the loose ball. He's European.
You aggravate Draymond Green.
Topher, I think that's an important topic to discuss, and I grew up in a middle class family, right? And okay.
Well, like
Uh,
actually, like what stats are you using to like, in your opinion, decide who's impacting winning differently?
Yeah, I remember last year, based on what I was looking at, I think win shares was one of them. I think that it was the advanced statistics. It wasn't. That's what I remember as of last year, because this opinion I have formed in my mind is one I've had since February or March or something. So I apologize. I don't know the exact statistic, but I believe it was win shares was one of them. I think PER might have been another one. Maybe game score. I think like the classic just advanced stats were the ones that I was paying the most attention to. And again, I mean, it might. I just think that Domantas Sabonis is a better player. I'd rather have Domantas Sabonis on my team than Joel Embiid. However, I can see the argument. Obviously, Joel Embiid has been very dominant. He was very dominant in the 30-something games he played last year. Obviously, averaging like 35 points a game or something crazy like that. I just don't think he has enough longevity to be able to actually do anything meaningful in the playoffs. If Joel Embiid was out the entire regular season and then just spawned in for playoff time, then yeah, we might actually have a good discussion about Joel Embiid being a solid player. But that's not the case. He has to play 1,000 minutes of basketball before he gets to the playoffs, and I just don't think that he's going to be anything much if that's the case.
That's fair. I mean, they did have the quote the other day about how he said he's never going to play it back to back ever again, which is probably fair. Um, yeah, I don't really have any other thoughts on Joel Embiid. Great when he plays, not great when he doesn't play. Joey, who is your disappointing team then?
My disappointing team's the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm sorry. I love the Bucks. The Bucks are my second favorite NBA team, right behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. And like I said, I was there when I won the championship, and ever since that moment, I've been a huge Bucks fan because obviously I grew up a Cavs fan. I didn't grow up in Wisconsin either, so there was no reason for me to be a Bucks fan. But going to college in Wisconsin and being able to see that happen in person, I mean, as much as you can say it's a bandwagon, it probably is. Yeah, I've been a Bucks fan since then, but I just think that the Bucks, they have so much going against them. Darvin Ham is probably going to convince Doc Rivers to play Torian Prince 35 minutes a night. Like there's just so many issues there, so many holes, so many question marks, so much aging going on. I just can't see a world in there's probably a world out there in which the Bucks win the NBA championship. It's just not this one. I just don't see them beating. I don't think they're going to beat the Celtics or the Knicks. And even if they somehow got to the finals, there's no shot they beat the Mavericks or the Thunder. Again, after beating one of those good teams already. I think that their ceiling is Eastern Conference Finals. I think that their average outcome this season is going to be the first round of the playoffs.
Are they telling you that all these things are like against you? Is it them?
Is what?
Shout out Quinn. Connor, or not Connor, Chad, your disappointing team this year.
Okay, I see.
No, I was thinking about Quinn because we talk about them all the time. And
Yeah.
then,
My disappointing team, I'm going with the Timberwolves.
okay. Any particular reason?
I agree with your Anthony Edwards shout. I don't think he's ready to be MJ yet. So I don't think they make it back to the Western Conference. If I had to pick, I think they're a first-round exit.
I also just don't. I might be like chewing my own words here. I don't know if MJ's play style, like, is just scoring and defense enough. Like in today's NBA, I guess.
Kind of what Giannis does, kind of.
Yeah, but Giannis rebounds like well enough.
Yeah.
Giannis is also a better passer, to be honest.
Yeah, and is probably a better passer. I don't know. I'm just yapping. Disappointing team. I'm gonna go with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Actually, no, Dallas Mavericks. First rounded this year.
Whoa.
I think they're like the 6th seed. I have nothing to back that up. I'm just gonna say it. Should we do Rookie of the Year first?
Yeah.
We don't need to talk anymore about my Mavericks team. I just a vibe. Mark Cuban's tweeting about politics and stuff. Well, he's not even the owner anymore. Oh no, he might still be a minority owner.
First of all, I just want to say it's not owner, it's governor.
Oh, my bad.
Please.
I'm still in like baseball, football frame of mind. I think they're still owners.
But yeah, Rookie of the Year. I think that for me, the Rookie of the Year is gonna be in a class that I think is a little weak, especially how much they can impact the game this year. I think Zach Edey, Rookie of the Year. Zach Edey's looked really good so far in preseason, and I think that there's it doesn't matter, but I think there's a lot of really good skill coming in there, and he's gonna play a solid role on the Grizzlies there, who I think are going to be really good this year. That could be a good surprise team as well because people forgot about them.
Yeah, actually, that is actually a really good surprise team.
I think that they're a common pick to be a surprise, though, for people right now, so that's why I didn't go with them. But John Morant's back, Desmond Bane. I think Zach Edey is going to be really good.
Jaren Jackson's still like a legit NBA player.
Yep.
I think they're – I don't know, actually. I'm not going to talk about that. Chad. Your Rookie of the Year.
I gotta be honest, I'm not too familiar with everyone, but I've heard good things from some of my coworkers this summer about Reed Shepherd, someone like Kentucky.
Kentucky boy.
Yeah, the kids that went to Kentucky, so I'm gonna go with him. Houston Rockets, young team. Yeah.
Awfully chalk. No, I shouldn't even say chalk pick. That's a good pick.
That is a chalk pick.
You picked the favorite.
Zach Edey's the favorite?
Yeah, I just looked it up.
What the heck?
Yeah.
How Chad, how far down that list do you got to scroll to get to Bronny James? Because that's who I'm picking for Rookie of the Year.
Okay, come on.
Dude, I see the vision. Here. Let me tell you exactly what's happening. Him and Shams met before the season started. They're sandbagging the odds, and Bronny's just gonna come out and ball.
All right.
The gritty underdog, Bronny James, right. LeBron James Jr. Never heard of the kid.
All right. So I don't know if the vision you're seeing is because you're Helen Keller Jr. or something out here. I know you love Helen Keller.
Never heard of this LeBron James kid. Never heard of him. I never heard of him. One sec.
Yeah, I don't know if Topher is Helen Keller Jr. out here, and that's the vision he's seeing, but
never heard of him. For those who are listeners, Connor, I'm currently putting on my LeBron James jersey. Joey, we're matching. Chad, you got a Cleveland Cavaliers jersey?
I do not.
I bet you feel pretty left out. All right, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, you do.
I have an extra one, Chad. I got you. Just come over right now. I'll give it to you.
No. You picked the Bucks as this point team. You can stay on that
Bronny
side.
James is the Rookie of the Year.
Okay, can we get a real pick?
All right, here. Oh, this LeBron James Jr.
Have you watched him play basketball this preseason?
No, I watched with my eyes, not numbers. Silly.
Oh no, I'm watching with my eyes too.
Chad, who is your defensive player of the year pick?
Wemby.
Yeah, Joey, who's yours?
Wemby.
Topher, who's yours? Wemby. Yeah, I feel like it's
Yeah.
It's Wemby's world. We're all just living in it.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about this for a decade because this is going to be Wemby every year for the next 10 years.
Yeah, he's
Plus.
so good. Like, he's
Yeah.
just...
Yeah.
Like, France might actually win something.
Probably.
Just because of him.
Hey, Evan Fournier is gonna keep cooking for another decade.
Alex Sarr, is that the name of the kid that just got drafted?
Alex Sarr is a bum. He is not. I would. He's not as bad as Bronny James, but Alex Sarr is not good.
If I'm Chad,
Yeah.
if I'm reading this right, I see somebody picked Bronny James to be Rookie of the Year, and nobody picked Alex Sarr. So that makes Bronny James better, right? No comment. Chad,
No
who's your
comment.
MVP pick this year?
Luka. I think there's always seems to be a trend of get that star as first MVP, and I think this will be Luka's year. He'll be on a little revenge tour after the finals.
Think he's not going to be too fat?
Doesn't matter. Shout out Trev.
Shout out.
There it is.
Good job,
There
Chad.
it is.
Attaboy. Joey, your MVP pick for this year.
First of all, Topher, I just want to say one thing. I will make a donation in your name because I challenge you to bet on Bronny James Rookie of the Year. It's just a donation to the sportsbook. Oh no, that's why I'm making a donation in your name.
Nope. See, this is all getting cut.
No,
this is all
no,
getting
no.
cut. Because of you, we're cutting out part of this podcast. How does that make you feel?
I don't
You
feel
try
good.
to get my eligibility at risk. We don't play around here. Chad, can you believe this? Do you want to go in timeout, Joey? Joey, who's your freaking MVP pick? That was the question.
My MVP is Shea. I think Shea gets it this year. I think
That's a good pick. I think he should have gotten it last year.
I don't think he should have gotten it last
No,
year.
I don't think so.
I think Shea gets it this year though.
Well, I think he should have gotten it last year. So, who won last year?
Jokic.
Yeah.
Speaking of fat, I've stated my pick previously. Chad, do you remember?
Yeah, it's not a good one.
It's Jason Tatum. I think NBA media has messed up, and I think he's got the perfect coach to feed into it a little bit. Chad, Joey, I'll let you go first. Your NBA Finals matchup, and then champion.
NBA Finals matchup is going to be the Boston Celtics back in the finals against the Dallas Mavericks. Same thing as last year, but we're switching the outcome. Dallas Mavericks are your 2025 NBA champions, and Luka Doncic is your Finals MVP.
Shout out Trev. That's not happening. Chad, your NBA Finals pick. And then we can talk about it after we all go.
Well, I want to be a homer, so I'm debating between doing this. I'm going to go Nuggets versus... You know what? Give me the Bucks. Nuggets versus Bucks.
Give the kid the Bucks. Gosh darn it, Chad. Give the kid the Bucks. And who we got?
We got to go with the Bucks.
The gosh darn Milwaukee Bucks. Oh. Pause. The Milwaukee Bucks are bringing it home.
Yep.
I'm not picking the Milwaukee Bucks, but
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I'll ride with Chad. I'll ride with you on that. I'm going with the Boston Celtics versus doesn't freaking matter because the Boston Celtics are bringing it home again this year. Because I'm the only one with, I'm literally putting Boston Celtics versus doesn't freaking matter because it really doesn't. If you want me to put a team on it, I'll say the Nuggets. But I think the Boston Celtics win again. Any reactions to any of our three picks?
I think Chad just that's if you want to talk about bias in picks on this podcast, Chad picked the Packers to win the Super Bowl, and Chad picked the Bucks to win the NBA championship. That's just the Packers won. I mean, they're both kind of crazy at this point. I mean, Packers. That's not absurd.
Wait! Hang on. What did you predict the Browns would do this year?
I picked them to make the AFC Championship game. And you know what? I'm wrong about that. Yeah, and I predicted them against the Jets. I was just wrong. But I was at least enough of a homer to not pick them to go to the Super Bowl. No one can deny that on paper, we were talking about this in our NFL predictions. You agreed with me that the Browns are a good football team and that's not absolutely absurd for them to make the AFC Championship game going into the year. Right now, that looks like the worst pick on planet Earth because the freaking massage parlor dude cannot throw a football to save his life, but it's not absurd coming into the year. I think the Milwaukee Bucks pick is a little bit that's just complete bias in there. I'm sorry. I think that the Nuggets is even not great of a pick either. I think the Nuggets are the third best team maybe in the conference because Jamal Murray is declining right now. Michael Porter Jr. is a one-trick pony. I just don't see it with the Nuggets.
Yeah, but they got Westbrook.
Yeah, if this was 2017, that'd be fantastic. But it's the Lord's year of 2024.
Side topic. Why have the Browns... Because they were winning with Deshaun Watson last year. What is the difference this year? Is he just playing way worse?
He is playing way worse, yeah. I think that it might just be an issue where he's another year removed from getting massages or something. I don't really know what the issue is there. But Deshaun Watson has been really, really bad. I mean, I think he's had QBR of 8 at times or something like that. I think 8. Okay, we can hear you now, Toph.
Don't worry, I'm back. I think, first off, Chad, why do you feel like a flag wasn't thrown on the play for your potential bias? Because I control the freaking narrative, that's why. And Deshaun Watson, I think, has had an unbelievable number of drops this year.
He has. And Amari Cooper has been a big issue with that. I think I checked a week or two ago, and Amari Cooper already had 5 or 6 drops.
Let me check. I was looking at it the other day.
The defense also hasn't been as good this year.
With one more drop, he will have tied a career high in number of drops.
I think there's a couple things that could factor into that. I think that, first of all, the receiving core has not been great either. I will 100% admit that. But the receiving core isn't really necessarily motivated to be great. Because if you hear the reports, that locker room wants one man to be starting for them, 2 men to be starting for them. Either Jameis Winston, that's what they want, but they're also not upset with DTR starts. They don't like Deshaun Watson. They don't want Deshaun Watson to start. That's how it is. And I think that Deshaun Watson has not been playing good. Is part of it not his fault? I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to give Deshaun Watson the benefit of the doubt. No. Deshaun Watson sucks at football. Everyone else has not been great around him, but maybe they'd be a little better if Deshaun Watson wasn't a horrible human and a horrible football player.
Joey, are they telling you that the locker room wants...
That's what they've been telling me.
Is it them?
That's what they've been telling me.
I feel like I said something else while my mic wasn't working, and now I can't remember, and it's gonna...
I don't know. We just saw you yapping there.
Yeah, I was just yapping. Javonte Williams scored a touchdown, which was nice to see.
Oh, good for him.
Oh, wow.
That was Topher's favorite fantasy draft pick for 2 years in a row. I remember a couple of years ago, the first time we did the in-person draft, you had your list you showed me or something like that, and Javonte Williams was your number one guy you wanted, and he was good until he tore his ACL or whatever it was.
I don't think his rookie year maybe his second, because his second year in the league I wouldn't have been crazy on him.
It was whatever year his highest draft stock was. I forget which one.
He tore his ACL his second year.
So it was his second year then.
Yeah.
I don't think I took him though.
I think you did, because I remember you had the injury, and that kind of led you to making the trade with me, where you traded me Jalen Hurts and Terry McLaurin, and I traded you Damian Pierce and Keenan Allen.
Let's go back in time. And then I fleeced somebody else by trading away Damian Pierce.
I don't know. I won that trade big time, in my opinion, and then you turned that trade into a win for yourself by fleecing someone else. So it worked out for both of us.
I traded Damian Pierce for like DK Metcalf. We think I had.
Yeah.
We
Was that
think
like
I had
middle?
him 2 years ago.
No, this would have been. Was it my first title? Yeah, my first title.
So 2 years ago.
My first of multiple.
Let's see. Oh no! What the heck? I'm trying to find
You like
out.
that? You like that? Chad, have you ever seen the trophy? I don't know. It's kind of been in my
Yeah, I
possession
have.
forever, so I wasn't sure. It's a nice thing.
Joey.
Lot more
Oh no! I
for
did
me
take
than
him.
titles.
I did have him on my team.
Knew it.
I had Jerry Jeudy too. I was big Denver guy.
Well, you were a Broncos
I
fan.
took him in the second round.
I told you were a huge Davante Williams guy. I knew it. I knew it.
It wasn't that crazy back then. People were high on him. It wasn't
I,
like you
I took
reached.
Christian McCaffrey in the first.
Hey, Chad, you want to know something funny about that draft?
Yeah.
I took Breece Hall as a rookie in the 4th round, and everyone was clowning me for taking Breece Hall. Like, oh, he's not even the starter on the team. And he ended up being one of the best fantasy running backs until he blew out his knee. But, man, that moment right there, when I was getting clowned for taking Breece Hall, is the moment I knew forever I was either going to be the biggest Breece Hall fan out there or his biggest hater. And I love Breece Hall. Because he had died on the hill. Like Connor with Trey Lance. Although, not to that level.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. Breece Hall's good.
Did you win your fantasy matchup that year by scoring 90 points?
Oh, it was a toilet bowl against Will. Yeah, that one was crazy. Well, to be fair, I had
that was the
Jalen
year.
Hurts out for the season.
That was the year that. What's up?
That year I had Jalen Hurts get injured out for the season. Cooper Kupp was my first round pick, I believe. He was out for the season. Breece Hall was out for the season. My starting tight end, I think, was Zach Ertz. He was out for the season. I think I had like 5 of my best starters out, and I still clawed my way to the victory. It was a team of destiny that year.
How does it
And
feel
it was
to know
a-
that you're just plain lying to our listeners?
How am I lying if I dropped those guys?
You had
Because they got
TJ
injured.
Hawkinson on your team.
Yeah, he was my second tight end for most of that year. Until he came alive at the end there.
He was the tight end 2 that year.
Because he came alive at the end once he got traded, I believe.
This was the year before you would have joined the league, I think, Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we have a request from a listener to eventually figure out a way to get a fantasy trade happen live on air.
Joey
Yeah.
ain't in that.
Yeah, I know that's not happening with Joey.
Hey, I'm always open to hearing things, but no one wants to talk ball. No one
Yeah,
wants
but
to,
unless
no
he's
one-
fleecing you, it's not happening.
I think I'm a very, very reasonable man. I just also have a lot of faith in my guys, and I'm not going to sell my guys for lower than they're worth.
What's your team looking like?
I'm actually not too upset with my team whatsoever right now. I
You're
think it looks
alright.
pretty solid.
Wide receivers probably could be better. Same thing with your running backs aren't great.
I do have. I think that Ramondre is injured right now. I think that my running backs are actually pretty solid.
You're kind of banking on a couple of guys taking over positions because you got Bucky and Tank.
I actually am really, really high on Tank Bigsby right now, man. I think Tank Bigsby. He's shown some flashes.
Yeah, he'll be solid for a week or two.
And then if Amari Cooper just takes that leap back to being a wide receiver 1, which, I mean, he's been targeted like crazy this year. The only issue has been either him catching the ball.
Can't catch the ball.
Yeah. And then Demario Douglas, I think. Look into Demario Douglas right now because He has
I don't know.
had.
Mario Douglas is a dog, especially with Drake May. He's going to be great.
I think my team is right where I want them. I have a lot of good depth, I think, which has always been which last year and the beginning of this year was a knock on my team, and I think I'm in a good spot. I just need someone who needs some depth to come knocking, so I can trade that for a stud. I just need a stud.
Chad, are you going to come a knocking for Amari Cooper, Ramondre Stevenson, Tyjae Spears,
Okay, no, Tyjae Spears.
Lucky
No,
Irving, Wandale Robinson, or
Wandale Robinson's been a dog this year. Wandale Robinson's been amazing. He gets targeted like crazy. I think he was like third in the NFL in targets going into last week.
Yeah, he had 11 targets this past week.
Wandale Robinson, man.
Nice.
Hey, the boys are gearing up for a third straight right now.
Third straight at 2-4.
Yeah, 2-4.
Okay, whoa.
2-4.
I'm like fifth or sixth in scoring in the league.
Chad, I got a question.
Look at my points against. Look at my points against.
Chad, I got a question.
Yeah.
What's that smell? Ooh, pee-oo. Woo!
We can't be talking though. Aren't you 2-4?
Yeah, I'm also 2-4.
I think it's crazy considering the fact that there's been 3 weeks now this year after last week. 3 weeks where I've been top 5, which is top half, in the league in scoring and lost. 3 of my 4 losses, I've been top half in the league in scoring and lost the game.
Yeah, but Chad, you literally even said, like, earlier today, Topher, you just keep losing, like, close matchups.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that all 3 of our teams should be higher. I think that there's some certain people out there who have been getting really lucky to this point in the season.
Yeah.
Call them out.
Yeah, I think Craig's team's been incredibly lucky. I think Derek's team's been incredibly lucky. Trevor's team's just not good. Shout out Trev. I don't think Derek's team's that good either, to be honest. I think Micah, his team has put up some points, but I think he's also gotten a little bit lucky there as well. And then Walker just prays he does a good draft, and then if not, he's screwed every year.
I'm second in points scored right now.
And you're 2-4.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've lost on Monday night like 4 times, I think.
Barber put up like 94 last week and won.
Yeah.
I put up 130 something and lost, I think. Maybe 128.
Walker's team isn't even bad. Like Walker's
got a good team.
It is good. If he just gets 1 or 2 injuries, though,
and he's still got like the opportunity for like Devon Achane to step up.
Yeah. He has Puka in his IR too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if he trades one of these wide receivers for like a running back later in the year, obviously.
Is he gonna make a trade though?
No. And Najee just like I don't think has a. Oh no, he just scored a touchdown finally. But like, I don't hate Walker's team.
Najee could get a boost with Russell Wilson now being the quarterback.
With Russ, because then there's less like rushing work going to.
Yeah, less red zone stuff for.
Yeah, dude, Alvin Kamara is putting up a stinker. It looks like.
Oh man.
I think he's at like 1.8 fantasy points because I play him this week. It was about darn time I got some good luck on my side. We'll see. Chad, you want to know a take that I had during our NFL predictions that, you know, you remember who I picked to win the Super Bowl?
Who did you pick? Oh, yeah, you picked the Cowboys, right?
You want to know who, if you asked me right now who I think is going to win the Super Bowl, who I'd pick?
I would hope you wouldn't say them, but...
The Dallas Cowboys, baby. I'm riding. You want to know what I was thinking about? Thinking about today, actually.
What?
I think we've been... I'm not even going to call myself a Cowboys fan, but like just having a rooting interest in them because I've like picked them. I think even that like shouldn't be considered bandwagon. They have not been good in our lifetimes. Like relatively. Like all of their like good their championships were like before all of our parents were even together. I feel like I'm not making a bad take here.
You can still be a fan if you think the team's gonna win the Super Bowl, and you become a fan of the team when you think you're gonna win the Super Bowl. Because they're a good team.
I think bandwagon's like, oh, dude, I was always a Chiefs fan. Like, if I tried to pull that card, like, that's a bandwagon.
No, because a bandwagon just hops on. You're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, I think a bandwagon is someone who hops on. Maybe you're not a bandwagon, but you're a fair weather fan.
That's fair.
Fair weather when the temperature is nice, when the team's winning,
but I
when things are looking good. Topher comes knocking. He's ready.
It more just has to do with my like feelings about Dak. Like that's the only reason I've rooted for them, and I feel like I have to die on this hill, which I'm okay with.
You know, one thing I will say about us and our friends is we get into such intense arguments that people have to die on hills so hard that they become like super fans of those players. Connor with Trey Lance has had to become a super fan of Trey Lance because he just can't admit he can't go back on it at this point. He has to stick with that. The Dak Prescott thing, Topher has to be a huge Dak Prescott fan. Although Dak Prescott's been good.
But I'm okay with that.
And if you haven't watched his Dak Prescott underrated video, if you haven't watched his video, go look. He hasn't been. We were before last season. We were clowning Luke Davey for drafting Dak Prescott in the Dynasty draft.
Yeah.
Because we all said Dak Prescott is horrible. He cannot play football, but Dak Prescott is a solid quarterback. He hasn't been great to this point, I know, but maybe if they had a rushing attack, he'd be better.
He's definitely not their biggest issue.
No, it's the run game.
No.
It's the run game.
Yeah. Chad, how are you feeling about the Packers, about your pick at this point in the season so far?
I'm feeling pretty good. Jordan Love getting hurt and us being able to weather it and now come back. And now this last game, he looked very solid. The offense is explosive. The defense is creating takeaways, which is a good thing. So with the takeaways and the explosive plays, it gives us more room for error.
Yeah. I forget how Quinn exactly described Jordan Love, but I think I'm starting to buy in. But he's just Will Levis, but he gets lucky.
See,
he makes some stupid throws.
See, now that's where I have to defend him a little bit. Does Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes not have very bad plays?
Josh Allen's actually been really good about that this year.
Well, I'm just saying in the past.
No, Patrick Mahomes does do stupid things though.
Yeah. And we still view him as a good quarterback. We don't say they're Will Levis just getting lucky.
No. I think it was just funny because I think that's exactly how Quinn described him as. It was just Will Levis but lucky.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about the Packers, even with the NFC North looking like it's the best division in football?
Well, if we don't win the division, I think the Packers would still be very dangerous in the playoffs. I've heard some people argue that it might be better to go on the road since we're a high-passing offense than having to deal with playing in the cold at Lambeau. Sure. I also, the Vikings, some reason I feel like there's reason to think they might fall off a little bit.
But they have such a head start.
Yeah.
Just on getting a playoff.
Oh no. They'll make the playoffs and everything. I don't know that they've looked like the best team probably in the NFL so far. I don't know if that's going to be the case the whole year.
That's fair.
And then the Lions. Hutchinson's injury is not good for them at all.
Yeah, it's not. It definitely hurts.
I don't think there's some people connecting them to train for a pass rusher and stuff. I don't feel like they're going to do that.
I feel like you have to, though.
I don't know. I don't know. The Bears, I got to give them credit. I saw it coming. Some
defense is a
solid team. Yeah, they probably have the best defense if I had to pick in the division.
Joey, your thoughts on the NFC North? thus far. I think we talked about it a little bit last week.
I mean, NFC North is looking fantastic right now. I think that the Packers with Jordan Love back look explosive this past weekend. The Vikings are off to an amazing start. The Lions looked dominant over the Lions made the Cowboys look like a sorry team this past weekend. And the Hutchinson injury is going to hurt though, because Hutchinson's been playing like a defensive player of the year candidate without a doubt. And I think the Bears, Caleb Williams, it was against the Jaguars, I believe, right? But he's been coming into his own. I mean, I think it's the Panthers and Jaguars the past 2 weeks or something like that. But like, the Bears are looking a lot better than they were at the beginning of the season as well. I think that there's a genuine chance that all 4 teams are in the playoffs, and I don't think that's even anything crazy to say. I think that I think the NFC is better than the AFC right now. I think there's a lot of great teams in the NFC. But, I mean, all 4 of those teams look like they're playoff teams right now. It's just going to come down to, once they get into the individual games, because they've been playing not divisional games for the most part so far this season, once they get into those games, that's when it's really going to see, like, who's a true playoff contender and who it might get kicked around. Because, I mean, if the Bears go 0-6 in those games, they're not making the playoffs.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I think we're just bound to have one of the teams like just get beat up on. Oh my gosh, that should have been a pick. But we should have one of the NFC North teams just get beat up on the entire like in division games, and then that just makes it tough for them to climb out of. A former Packer was traded just a couple of days ago, and Davante Adams. The calf talk debate of this week, Chad, is can the Jets turn their season around with newly acquired Davante Adams?
It depends how turnaround is classified. I think they can
Playoffs.
still playoffs. Yeah, I think they can make playoffs still. They're scheduled now. They've lost to teams like the Broncos and stuff who aren't strong, but their schedule isn't crazy daunting. I think I looked and saw that they've got the Bills obviously one more time, and then the Texans. But other than that, their best teams they're playing is like the Colts and the Steelers and stuff. If they can win like some of those games, like those are their direct competition for the playoffs. If they can get out of those, which I think they can, then I think they can make the playoffs. Davante Adams, they've had a lot of red zone problems, especially like the Buffalo game. Davante Adams is really good at catching a lot of touchdowns, and he has that chemistry with Rodgers. I would think that would help them.
Yeah, I would agree. They just need like the defense looks legit, but like they just need some consistency offensively that isn't Allen Lazard. Joey, your thoughts on the New York Jets?
I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll turn it around. I think their schedule does get easier, like Chad said. And I think like this past week was the best I've seen them look offensively too. I think that Allen Lazard obviously has been playing really well so far. Garrett Wilson the past 2 weeks has also played very well and looked like a legitimate like wide receiver 1 in the league for sure. And you can go look at the stats because he is legitimately good. That's not a homer pick. That's not a biased pick. He's been fantastic the past couple weeks. And if you're throwing that flag at that's insane. I think the rushing attack.
I'm just kidding.
I think the rushing attack's also been pretty good. I think Breece Hall is going to come around. I think Braylon Allen's also looked like a really good running back. I think they're going to figure it out offensively, especially without Hackett being the play caller. They looked better this past week against a good Buffalo team. And it was really windy. It was really windy too.
Yeah.
I think the passing attack will improve. I think that the Jets will be fine. I think the Jets. I still would not be surprised to see them make a run in the playoffs. I think that's how much faith I still have in this team because there's so many positives and because the negatives, I think, are starting to kind of improve and get together. So I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, as a Breece Hall fantasy owner myself, I was very encouraged by the other night because there was like the issue I was having was because like Braylon Allen was eating a lot of like the touches, and he was like non-existent in the game. Like he got what would have been a touchdown, which was a little frustrating, but like Breece Hall played took majority of the snaps. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little sleepy. We can wait to talk about Drake May. I want to see another start, but he was solid this week. I don't change my stance on rookie quarterbacks still though. Like that didn't change anything.
I think if I remember correctly, you said during the podcast Caleb Williams should be the only one starting.
Yeah, and I'm wrong on Jaden Daniels. I'm wrong on that. But I still I'm not changing my I think developmentally I'm still sticking by that. Jaden Daniels looks like an outlier too. I'm not scared to die on hills. Joey, do your college sports corner, please. Enlighten us.
I mean, first of all, I think that college football has been insane as of recent. I think most of the nation that follows college football, of course, was tuned into the Ohio State-Oregon game. It is a fantastic game. And as a diehard Ohio State fan, we got out coached at the end there. I think the whole 12 man on the field, if you guys saw that was really smart.
Was that proven to be real?
Dan Lanning said that they planned it to be out. They planned for that to be out there. That was their idea, and now they literally patched it, as the gamers would say. Shout out Walker. They literally changed the rules now. All of a sudden that they can't. That's not going to happen again. It was smart.
Yeah, it was smart, but the fact that shoot clock off, even in the moment, I was like, why did?
It's stupid. It's a horrible loophole in the rules, but it was the rules. And that is what it is. I still think Ohio State's better than Oregon. I think that you go on a neutral field.
Go on a neutral field.
We lost by 1 at Oregon. I'm not worried.
How do you think the two teams perform at the Art Keller Field? Art Keller Stadium.
I think that they walk on the field and laugh.
We got a pretty nice facility.
We do, but Ohio State. I've been to this shoe one time in my life. I was fortunate, and once this podcast blows up,
Carthage College.
The shoe is magic. Oh my gosh, I want to go to the Big House. I want to go to Penn State Stadium. I think Beaver Stadium is called. I want to go to the shoe again. There's so many college stadiums I want to go to so bad, but Art Keller Field, man, it's a beautiful Division III facility for a school that has a horrible football program. I'm sorry. On the come up though, hopefully, but they'd laugh. They'd laugh at the facility. It looks like a practice field for them.
Chad, what are your feelings about Art Keller Stadium?
Yeah, a nice turf remodel. Right, pretty close to the lake.
I get chills. It's like heaven on earth. It's not a real. I'm not even gonna say real. You are a real one. You tweeted. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you tweeted about Will Howard being a enterprise rent a car. Was that the position you did? Enterprise.
I was the intern, but that's it was pretty much my job, but full time. Management trainee is their entry level position. Anybody who's worked for Enterprise Rent a Car knows it is. I will say this once. We're not going to talk about this ever again on the podcast because I don't know why we would. It is working an internship there was maybe the best decision professionally I've ever made.
Sure.
Because I got intern of the year, so it makes my resume look fantastic. Companies eat that up.
Nerd of the year,
also,
yeah.
But also, everyone knows Enterprise as a company. Every interview I've ever done since then, they've been like, "Oh yeah, I know these people who worked for Enterprise doing that. It's great experience.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. I would never step foot in doing that full time. I will never be that desperate. I will never be that desperate.
Well,
don't work there full time.
Might be getting there.
I wouldn't be so sure.
No? Breaking news?
No, nothing official. Nothing official. No, I'll woj bomb it if I have something come up. But still got some stuff in the works. Had a couple interviews. We'll see what happens. But anyways, back to the college sports corner.
Oh, okay.
The college sports corner. One more thing I want to touch on outside of college football. University of Virginia's head basketball coach, Tony Bennett, retired today.
Yeah.
Obviously, as many of y'all know, Chad, you might have still been in diapers when this happened, but in 2019 they were the national champions in college basketball. Obviously, 2018 they were upset by UMBC, the first 16-1 upset. He's a fantastic coach, and from what I've been hearing, he's retiring due to health issues of his wife. So hopefully everything's all good on that front, or at least can be okay on that front at some point.
As okay as it can be, yeah.
Yes, as okay as it can be.
Yeah.
But that's a huge hole. That gives me something to make a video about, is who's gonna be the next head coach at Virginia.
Yeah.
But
I was kind of surprised.
It's got to be serious. Something serious came up.
Yeah.
If it's at this point in the year, and I think that Tony Bennett, his reputation is
Class
as
act.
clean as they come, class act. So obviously it's something serious outside of basketball, and so hopefully everything ends up being okay.
Ends well.
With that.
Yeah. I was gonna say there had to have been something that caused, because it did seem very like, all right, hang it up. So, Boyo of the week.
Can I give the intro for this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. No. Give me a drum roll. Wait, what's the drum roll? So, when you're growing up as a kid, there's certain things that you aspire to have in life, the finer things. And for some people, that's a huge mansion. Some people, that's great sports cars. For some people, that's obscure sports jerseys. And as a Cleveland fan my whole life, I remember the good, the very limited good, and I remember the bad, the really bad. And when LeBron James left for the Miami Heat in the early 2010s, I remember the really bad of the Cleveland Cavaliers. But the small shining light outside of Kyrie Irving was a guy by the name of Antoine Jameson. Antoine Jameson.
Drum roll.
I think it goes better like this. Antoine Jameson is a guy who was a two-time All-Star. He won a Sixth Man of the Year award. He was fantastic during his time at the University of North Carolina. And his time in Cleveland was more the twilight of his career. He was getting up there. But I just remember looking at the ticker on sports when I was watching the Sports Center every day, like I would at that age, because that's when I was truly falling in love with basketball. I remember seeing Cavs losing by 20, Cavs losing by 30, over and over and over. But I remember seeing Cleveland, Jameson, 23 points. And so I just want to say that getting an Antoine Jameson jersey, which I found for $20 on eBay, steal, I'm so happy with it. Plus, this is a sick jersey. Like I forgot how cool our jerseys used to be. I honestly like these better than our current jerseys, but that's besides the point. Antoine Jameson, great player. I don't know if y'all were old enough to remember Antoine Jameson, but Chad, you might have been in diapers then, but
yeah, Jameson, I don't remember. I remember him more on 2K than anything else. Like,
yeah, I was just thinking that. Sorry, old guy on 2K.
He had a postseason where he averaged 32 points and almost 10 rebounds. They got swept, but
was that his time on the Warriors or Clippers?
Wizards.
Oh, that's right.
The 2006 Washington Wizards.
And that was why he was highly rated then on my favorite 2K. My initial 2K that I played over and over and over was NBA 2K7. Chad, you might have been in diapers. You've probably never seen it in your life. But 2K7 was a great game, and Antoine Jameson was very highly rated then, so that makes sense.
They got first rounded by the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Cleveland!
This is for you. Chad, do you remember any memories of Anton Jameson, or is it just 2K like me?
I'm going to be honest, not many memories.
Do you?
I feel like I do remember him being on like the Clippers or maybe even the Lakers, I think.
Yeah, this might be much more of a question for Joey than it is you, because you definitely won't. But do you guys remember Brett Favre playing football?
The only memory I have of him is I remember the Monday night game. I think they were playing in the Minnesota, the actual college stadium, and he
Sure.
was
When
getting
he was
beat
with the
up. He was
Vikings?
getting, dude, he was getting beat up by the Bears. I think
Okay.
that might have been his last game, actually.
It must have been while he was with the Vikings then, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, Joey, do you remember watching Brett Favre play?
Yeah, I remember him a little bit. I don't remember a ton with the Packers really, because that's obviously early. But I mean, Chad was obviously in diapers when he played with the Packers last. Chad was probably I remember, but I mean, I remember him Vikings, Jets, and a little bit Packers for sure.
I've got two things. First, I can picture him playing for the Jets on CBS like fairly vividly. And
Yeah.
two, you've mentioned Chad in diapers a lot this episode. Like within the last like 10 minutes. It's come up a
Yeah,
lot.
it's been like 5 mentions
Like
of
kind of
it.
weird.
I'm just seeing how many times I can naturally fit that into the conversation.
You freak.
So,
Chad,
what?
this is your return episode. Do you have any final thoughts to leave our fans with?
Um, just keep watching, keep subscribing, and liking the videos. Ball Talk Boys is on the way up.
Yeah. Joey, do you have any final thoughts now knowing that the Cleveland Guardians walked it off in the bottom of the 10th?
Nice.
Cleveland! I just want to say this. You know, I see myself on this podcast similar to how certain media outlets treat those they don't agree with, on both sides, of course, where they just try to silence them and try to make their opinions obsolete, make their opinions sound like they're crazy when they're really not. And so I want to say that I'm really grateful for all the support the podcast has gotten, all the support that the videos I've been putting out have gotten. And I mean, I know I'm not the beautiful face like Topher that people just naturally are drawn to when they see like, oh, that guy knows how to make a video.
Yeah, I'm
But,
like
I
4 feet
mean,
tall, so they don't know that.
I didn't say anything about height. I said everything about the face, man. But it's fantastic that I'm able to just express my opinions in these videos, and people might agree with them, people might disagree with them. I mean, obviously, some of these videos, maybe I plant a little bit of a not Easter egg, but like I have a little bit of a opinion that I don't necessarily agree with, but I just trying to go fishing a little bit, and it works. But I just want to say that we are so close. I can taste the YouTube checks. I can taste that sweet YouTube revenue. That 12 cents a week. I can taste it. And you know what it tastes like? It tastes like a bottle of Braun Hennessy, baby.
Hey, I do it for the love of the game.
So do I.
I can never get paid. I just enjoy sitting here talking to you for the hour and a half a week or so that we get to talk for, and then headed my way. But it is enjoyable to just say the things that you just want to put out in the ether and let the world take a hold of. So I would like to use my final thoughts to talk about something that's very, very dear to me. Chad, if you had to say, what team do you think I'm the biggest fan of? Like any singular team.
Yeah, the Red Sox.
Yeah, the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
And I am pleading, begging, Craig Breslow. I know you're listening. Please, for my sake, for my friend's sake, for my family's sake, please sign Juan Soto. Just get it done. Like the day he's a free agent, just do it. Blank check. John Henry, he watches on YouTube. Just hand him a blank. You're going to be dead in like 2 years, so like not going to be your problem. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. And go Birds.